Over the years, the church has had some other renovations. We did some painting some years ago. We might have changed the carpet. We might have done something when we had to remove the larger altars to the different kinds of altars over the years. But never did we do it all at one time. And it just seemed like people were ready for this to happen. The carpet was of such a nature that it was bulging in certain areas, and the pews with the former cushions on were soiled, and the lighting wasn't necessarily attractive and sort of one that would encourage worship and prayer. And so people, I think, were just excited to have a total facelift. I told the parishioners it was sort of like our own homes. We get so accustomed to where we live and in the environment that we live that we sometimes overlook the need to dust off the chairs or to fix the carpet until we just do some introspection, or until we have a family gathering or a family need and we look around and say, my gosh, we should do this or we should do that. And I think that's what the parishioners have come to realize here at St. Pat's, as we called their attention to the carpet and the painting and everybody said, well, yeah, you're right, we need to do that.
Our original goal was just to do the inside of the church, and then there were several members of the church who were going, if we're going to start, and if the roof is still leaking, let's fix that too. And so there are many things that needed to be addressed. The other thing was the west entrance. Then we needed to do that to come up to code. And we needed, the biggest reason for doing it is we have so many people that come to church. We were overflowing at every Mass, and that's a good thing.
And then actually took part in tearing apart the church with the volunteers that Sunday, which was really neat. Or not Sunday, Saturday. And I'm going to clarify that. And then Saturday prior, there was a wedding at 2, I think. We were literally backing trucks up that day while the wedding party's bus was driving away. So we started at like 3:30, and by 8:30, basically was empty. One of the main considerations in redesigning and renovating the existing sanctuary was going back and looking at how their lighting depicts the existing sanctuary, and how the sense of prayer and worship and respect that actually gives to the actual worship space. There was one traditional fixture that was existing from before, from the original church construction, that was back over the balcony, and we sent that off, I believe, to Virginia or somewhere to have that completely restored and reinstalled above the balcony. To further enhance the traditional style of the Romanesque church, we looked at bringing in some more traditional fixtures. And so we came in with the main suspended sanctuary fixtures that are over all the pews, hitting all the way down towards the altar area, and also added traditional Romanesque style wall sconces along the side walls to provide functional but also aesthetic lighting effect at the same time.
One of my favorite parts of the renovation is the woodworking. It is just beautiful now. I used to think the woodworking was nice, but it was really dark. It was a dark brown. The contractors stripped off that dark paint and refinished the wood, and it's just a warm, wonderful dark oak finish now, and it warms up the church so much. That's just my favorite part. It is just, the woodwork is just beautiful. And the pews just turned out wonderfully. One of our parishioners during one of our meetings looked at the arch on the pew, or the arch on the window, and said, wouldn't it be neat if we could do an arch like that on the pew? And so the architect said, well, we can do that, that's easy. And it just turned out beautifully. When you look at the end of the pew and you look at the arch in the window, they just match perfectly, and it's just beautiful.
Father felt strongly that we needed an altar that reflected the Romanesque designs, curves, lines of the current structure. And what we had was basically a wooden structure, and while nice, we usually traditionally kept it covered with an altar cloth, so you really couldn't even see the structure itself. It was just always covered with a cloth. The current altar that we have now was made very lovingly by a parishioner, a couple of parishioners actually, and they built the forms, poured the materials, brought them all in, constructed the altar within the church at St. Patrick, and then placed it, and it is very much a more Romanesque piece that fits in with the new remodel very nicely.
Many don't realize, when they think mainly of the interior of the church, we redid the entire roof outside. Taking the tile off, replacing what's underneath it, and then putting the tile back again.
And another nice addition to the renovation is the fact that we were able to reuse the bricks on the roof. The roof was in major disrepair, and so all of the tiles had to be taken off and they had to be cleaned. And there were some that were broken and we could not reuse them, and so we were concerned that we were going to have to go out and try to buy some and match some. But we found some more in the basement, and they were the original tiles, and so we were able to use those on the roof, and we didn't have to buy any new ones at all, and the roof just looks so nice. Oh, and we're so excited about the west entrance getting redone. For years we haven't been able to use it. There was structural cracking, there was sagging, there was water leaks. It wasn't up to code, and we were told we just had to close it down. And now it's open again, and people are starting to use it and starting to realize that they can use it again. And the contractors were able to match the brick on the outside, so it's just beautiful. And people are able to use the west entrance. People are very, very excited about that.
We had some very generous benefactors that left some very sizable estate gifts to the parish, which dug us out of our debt and also left us in a position to start shifting our focus towards our worship space, which had really been ignored as one of our facilities over the past few years. And as a result of that financial improvement, we were able to shift that focus, get a great coalition of parish members to help fund the project, and as a result, we've been very successful in funding this project, between the estate gifts and ongoing pledges in a very financially responsible way.
One of the things I'm also very pleased about is that it took place within 2 months, the entire thing, because we had that open window without weddings, so we really needed to complete it within the 2 months, and we had worship in the gym during those 2 months. And so that wedding rehearsal was, I believe, at 6 o'clock on a Friday night, and we had done the final vacuuming about 5:30. We just barely made it.
One of the things that I think has been really eye-opening for me in this project is not only do we now have a beautiful worship space that the parishioners at St. Patrick can really be proud of, but I feel like it's also unified the community in other ways, namely bringing them together for a common cause, creating an excitement over being able to accomplish a project that looked pretty insurmountable at the beginning when we did our first informational meeting. And as people brought more ideas to the table, the excitement built, the realization that yes, we can do this grew, and people really came together to support the project and help get it done. And now staff and parish and community alike have a beautiful worship space that is the end result.